You know, I always said when I retire, I'm going to get a Corvette. Well, we'll see. I'll touch on that here in just a minute in the video. But we've taken a little bit of break from the channel, so I'm going to carry you around and show you what we've been up to for the last few months. And just to let you know that we're going to get the channel cranked back up, probably have at least one video a month, maybe more. But yeah, we've been busy for sure, so stick around. All right, I'm in the shop. Let's start in here. It's definitely a lot of work took place in here for pleasure items and for the equipment I have on the farm. So let's start right here. I got this parts wash station, and I want to tell you, this thing right here was incredibly useful when I was doing some of the work here in the shop. Got this at Harbor Freight. I think it's 120-ish bucks. It's got a pump in it. I got some solution down here. Let's look at this. Some super clean, safe for the environment, works great. All right, excavator. If I can find the footage, I will probably put some of that footage in here, but the excavator had a track that was popping, and it almost felt like it had a rock in the sprocket. This is what it felt like. But got it in here, got it jacked up, and the track, I will show you real quick. The tracks, you can see these bolts at the bottom. They have bottom rollers, and then you got a top roller up there. All right, so you take this cover off here, bleed off where you put grease in it. The cylinder compresses so that you can get the track off. When you pump grease in there, it pushes that forward idler wheel. It pushes it forward. That's what keeps your track tight. All right, so got the track off, and I was inspecting everything, grabbing these rollers, making sure they were working fine. Had one of these rollers that, it was kind of locked up, and I was kind of just working it back and forth to see if it was dirt in it or whatever, and I had stuff falling in my hand. I was like, what in the world? And it was the inner bearings were coming out of it. Basically, that roller was eating itself. So what it was doing, it was kind of locking up and binding, and that was what the sensation or the sound or how it would kind of pop the track, it was breaking that roller parts internally. And then also, when I pulled the track off, the top idler up here, that roller there, was bad, very sloppy. So I reached out to Caterpillar, and Caterpillar loves their parts. I think it was going to be about 600 bucks or so for those two rollers. So I eventually found what I needed on eBay, I think, and I think I went to aftermarket equipment, place, but I spent about less than $200. I had both those rollers back on it and had that thing back together, and it works like a champ. We've been busy this summer. We took some time off, went to the beach, spent a week at the beach, and that's going to lead into my next item of discussion. All right, here's the boat. All right, typically every year we take this thing with us to the beach. Sometimes in the past, we've left it there. Other times, we just pull it back and forth. Just a quick rewind of kind of the boat diaries, if you want to call it that. I've had horrible issues with tires on this trailer. So let's see, it was probably 3 years or so ago. I was pulling it to the beach, and it's about a 300-mile run, and got about an hour from the house, and this front tire exploded. The frustrating part of that was probably 3 or 4 months prior to that, I had all new tires put all the way around. So all 4 new tires. So the fortunate thing was, when you got tandems, is the other wheel will typically keep this axle and rim and all that stuff off the ground. So I limped this thing down the side of the interstate for about, I think it was probably about 4 or 5 miles to the next exit. I stayed in the emergency lane. Getting some rain this morning. I'm sure you can hear it in the video. All right, so I limped it down to the next exit, stopped in a church parking lot, jacked it up, got the spare on it, and we're back in business. So the next year we went down, no issues. Got up the next morning to go put the boat in, and it was the same tire was flat. So I had put a new tire in on that rim while we were in Florida on that trip. Once I made it down there, took the spare off, so that tire had been 300 miles home and 300 miles back to the beach. So looking at that tire that morning and going, what in the world, what's going on with these tires? Well, I had a piece of a tool stuck in the tire, and it went flat. So anyway, had tire number 3 put on. So that initially had new tires, got to Florida, had a second tire put on, and now this is the next year's trip down. It had something in it, and so I had the 3rd tire on it. So all good. We're traveling back and forth, no major issues. Well, this past winter, as you can see, these hubs are new. This past winter, I got new brakes for it, and this thing spends a lot of its time in salt water. So when it's in salt water, I take it out, I pressure wash everything good. It's kind of hard to get in there as good as you can, but I spray behind it and just try to get everything as clean as possible. But I think I bought this boat in 2020 and it's a 17 model. So I don't know how well the person before me had washed and taken care of things. I don't think they did very well. So got a mosquito trying to get me. Mosquitoes have been pretty bad this year. All right, so I got ordered brakes, and these brakes for this thing aren't cheap. I think they were $200 for the brakes, and I ordered bearings. And so I started with this wheel here, took the hub apart, bearings, there's a whole issue with bearings, so I'll probably go back and find some of that footage. It explains it better, but you got to be real careful when you're doing these to make sure you get the right bearings and the right races. So I got the hub repacked, and I needed to compress the piston so I could get the brake pads on. And as I'm compressing the piston back in, the rubber around it bulged out. So I had spent probably, counting the brakes, a couple $100, and all the bearings, I had probably another 200. I had probably around $500 in just bearings and brakes. So I said, well, that caliper's bad. So I went to look up a new caliper. Anywhere from $300 to $500 for a new caliper, depending on where you were looking. And I was like, what in the world? Well, I did some more research and figured out that I could buy a all new rebuild kit. New rotor, our new disc, new bearings, new brake calipers, new brakes. All right, here's the complete assembly back together. Just going to show you the studs. There's the new studs, goes into the plate, one on top and bottom. I did coat this arm with some anti-rust stuff. Those bolts back there, I'll end up coating them with a anti-rust. But here's the completed assembly back together. Now I just gotta clean my mess up and get the tire back on. Then I'll do a recap. And so it was cheaper for me to buy a whole assembly of everything new than it was for me to go get the brake caliper and then deal with that issue and not knowing if it was going to be exactly what I needed. So I spent several days in here, and this was over a month's worth of time of getting that part wasn't right, or just trial and error. But I spent several days in here, got everything repacked, all new parts. Everything behind that rim, except for the axle going across, is everything's new. So this year we head out. Brakes on the trailer work great. One thing it doesn't do as well as I would like it to do, and I maybe need to get somebody to properly bleed it, is this has a surge brake on it. So when you push the brake on the truck, this tongue's front piece right here slides in. The master cylinder is right there. It compresses the piston, applies the brakes, and then when you put it in reverse, it's supposed to send a signal to one of your wires that sends a signal to that master cylinder to where it locks it, so that won't go in, but it'll go in some. So here's my fix for it. I stuck a bolt through it right here. It's got an area where you can pin it. So when I'm backing it up, I just jump out, stick the bolt in it. It does fine. Also, I put a new jack on it a couple years ago. Didn't like the quality of it. Put a new jack on it this winter. So this thing was ready. We headed out. It's probably the best 4th of July weekend or week that we've had in a long time. You know, when you go to the lake, people just kind of take it for granted. Hey, we're taking if you have a boat, you know, hey, we're going to the lake. Well, when you're going to ocean and big bodies of water, bays and all that stuff, number one, the thing that you'll check if you're going to the lake, you'll check if you're going to the ocean, it's what is the weather going to be like today? Okay. But where it starts getting drastically different is what is the tide like, and what are the seas? What's the sea conditions? I typically will not take this out if the waves or the conditions of the seas are 2 foot or greater. Because we go about 10 to 15 miles to where we normally go when we put in. So I gotta go over here and spit in my trash can. All right, so we had 4 great days on the water. Well, one day was a little choppy coming in, a little choppy going out, but 2 of the days, the bay, Pensacola Bay, Santa Rosa Sound, it was like a lake. It was almost glass conditions on the water. So we were able to get out to where we were going pretty quick and had a blast. Weather was good. We came back in one day a little bit early because we saw a storm building to the north of where the boat ramp was, and it kind of hung out future forecast wasn't really showing what it was going to do. Maybe it was going to expand and be at the boat ramp. And so we had the grandbabies with us, and we just didn't want to deal with that. So we headed on back in. All right, so had a great week in Florida. We're headed home. No issues whatsoever. I'm taking my time, running about 70 miles an hour on the interstate, and we got up to the Montgomery area. Once we get to Montgomery, we normally jump off the interstate and come through the country roads for a couple hours, then get back on I-20 for a short distance, and then we're home. So I had gotten off of the interstate in Montgomery and was sitting at a stoplight waiting to turn, and I'm looking in my mirrors, and on the driver's side I look back and the front trailer tire looked flat, and I was like, "You ain't gonna believe this." I told Melody, I was like, "We got a flat tire." So I eased down the road a mile or so, pulled over into this business parking lot, jumped out, looked at it. Tire did not come apart at all. It actually looked like it was flat, but not all the way flat. So I went ahead and put the spare on the trailer. Took about 15 minutes to change out the tire, and we're back in business on the road. But I'll show you something. Here's the tire that I pulled off that was flat. Brought it in the shop and pumped it up, and it's still pretty much pumped up. It does seem like it may have gone down a little bit, but it's been out here for over 2 weeks now. So I'm going to take this tire, have the valve stem replaced, and I'm going to put a 12 ply, 14 ply, 16 ply. I'm going to start going heavier ply tires. So hopefully between now and next boating season, which I still got some boating time left this season, we're going to go to the lake and do some stuff here. But hopefully by the next year, when we take this thing to Florida, I'm going to have just a better quality tire on the boat trailer, and hopefully we have zero tire issues. That seems to be the Achilles heel for me with this thing. Is it's always going to be something with a tire, and tires are easy. I'm thankful that that's the only thing that I've had issues with. We were leaving the boat ramp one day, and my son was helping me, and we had just folded up the canopy on the boat, got it strapped down, took the plug out, got the engine all trimmed up, got everything ready to go down the road, and we're starting to pull out, and a guy walked up to us and says, "Hey, can you guys help me? My trailer just broke," and he's like in the entrance road coming in. We're like, "Sure." We walk over there, and his front axle had completely broke loose, and the front tire was against the rear tire. So we got to looking up under there where the hub assembly connected to the axle had completely rusted apart. So the wheel completely came off the axle with hub and everything. So I had my my jack in my truck. We went over there, jacked his trailer up real quick, was able to get that tire slid out. And I asked the guy, I said, "You live close?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm just down the road." I was like, "Well, you can limp this thing home like it is since you got tandem. Your rear wheel will take you back home as long as you take it easy." So anyway, got him out of the way so that we could get out. And that's kind of been the boat saga for this year, if you want to call it that. But it was a great week, probably the best week that we've had. We go down there every summer, and we might get 1 or 2 days in a week that the conditions are what I would consider basically perfect, and you have a pop-up thunderstorm or the seas get rough. But this trip was great. Very thankful. The grandbabies had a blast. All of us adults had a blast. And I may have some footage that I'll share when we were down there. Matter of fact, I do have some footage, and I'll hopefully remember to put it in here. Is we had a first happen while we were there. We're anchored in the sound, in a couple feet of water. Got all these restaurants and all that kind of stuff right there. And we were probably the first or second boat, I don't remember, in there that morning. And it was on a Monday morning. We had been to the water Saturday and Sunday, or we had went Saturday and it was packed. Yeah, we went Saturday. It was okay. Sunday was packed. No, Saturday was the day it was packed the worst. The little area we were in on Saturday had probably 50 boats in it. And then Sunday it was a little bit better, but it was to the point where we anchored, you'd have to pull your anchors and kind of walk your boat through all the boats and kind of work your way out. And anyway, it was all good. But we're anchored Monday morning, and a plane kind of circled us. And I was like, "Is that joker going to land?" And sure enough, a couple guys landed a plane that morning on the bay there and taxied by us, grabbed some lunch at the restaurant, they had their boat, or they had their plane right up, tied off at the beach area. And those guys got back in the plane, fired it up, taxied by us, and took off. So it was pretty awesome. But I'll try to remember and put that in here. I started this video off with, I always said when I retired, I wanted to get a Corvette. I've said that for years and years and years. But as I've gotten older, and I would say a little bit wiser, I can't see myself paying that much for a Corvette. I mean, they're beautiful cars, don't get me wrong. They're awesome. But with my bad back, bad knees, they're definitely not the most comfortable cars in the world. So anyway, we were Melody and I were down at the house in Florida. Let's see, when would that have been? May. And it was raining. There's lots to do down there. So we're like, what are we gonna go do? It's raining. Let's just get out of the house and go do something. And so we went up to the north side of Pensacola. There's a area up there that has been building up a good bit over the last several years. A lot of businesses have gone in. That area has kind of boomed, and we hadn't been up there. And it's only probably 3 or 4 miles from the house. So we jumped in the car and headed up there, and it has really, they're building a Costco. That area has really exploded with businesses. And I've always kind of been this, I like technology kind of person. SpaceX, we have Starlink here. It's flawless. But SpaceX, that whole concept of landing a rocket back on land and reusing it, it's changed the space industry. So Elon, he has it going on. So we were up there, and there was a Tesla dealership. And I've always been kind of skeptical of EVs because of the range. I've always said, if they'll get, more range per fill up, then I would be interested, because we regularly, once or twice a month, are in Florida, and it's 300 miles there and 300 miles back. And I didn't want to, there's a lot of misconceptions with EVs, and I was one of them that was kind of leaning on the fence toward the negative of an EV, but the technology has drastically changed in the last 10 years, I would say. People that have Teslas love them, and I didn't understand what was so great about a Tesla. So we went on the app, and they say you can schedule a test drive. And I'm like, hey, let's just schedule a test drive in one of these things. We've never been in one ever. Let's schedule a test drive and see what it's like. And so we scheduled a test drive, arrived at our time. This young gentleman, like he was just out of high school, young fella, come out, helped us, talked about the car a little bit, and he goes, all right, I'm going to take you guys for about a 5-minute ride. We're going to sit in the car. I'm going to show you the features, and then we're going to, I'm going to give you the car, and I'll see you in an hour. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, just keep this in mind. This is when you sit in a car and all it has is a few buttons on the steering wheel, no instruments, and a big computer screen, It's kind of intimidating if you've never done it. So he took us down the road, showed us the basics of this is how you engage full self-driving, this is how you disengage it, this does this does that. And so he showed us how it worked and came back to the lot, and the car parked itself, and he goes, all right, I'll see y'all in an hour. And I got behind the wheel first, and Melody's sitting in the passenger seat, and her palms are sweating. She's like really, really nervous. And so anyway, we take this thing, head out. And what's crazy with these things, they're one pedal driving. And if you don't understand what that is you push the gas to go, and when you let off the gas, it starts braking. So unless you're like running up on somebody really, really quick, you really don't even have to even push the brake in the car. And it takes a little bit of getting used to. Like you can be running, say, for instance, 50 miles an hour, and the traffic in front of you is a little bit slower. You just let up on the pedal just a little bit. It slows you down just a little bit, and you kind of keep your pedal at the same area. So we're on a 6-lane, 3 lanes on each side of the road. It's raining. I told Melody, I said, we got to get away from this busy highway. And so we got off that highway, got on a less busy highway, and then got over in kind of some neighborhoods and turned on the full self-driving on the car. And we come to a red light. And the car that we're test driving is going to have to make a right-hand turn, and there's a big like F-250 setting to go straight. So you can't see to the left. The car's got its blinker on. It will always stop at a stop sign or a stop light. It's going to always stop for at least 1 second. So it pulls up there to the stop line and stops. And the light's still red, and then the car eases forward so it can see around that F-250 that's sitting next to us, and made a right turn on red. And I was like, this is pretty awesome. So anyway, I drove the car around for a little bit, and then me and Melody switched out. She drove it around for a while, and we took it back, told the gentleman that it was awesome. We test drove the Model 3, and so we asked him, after we got through, we were asking him outside, what kind of Model 3s do you have, what different types. So they have a long range Model 3 that's rear wheel drive only has 2 motors, 2 rear drive motors, and it gets 363 miles of range. Well, our trip from Georgia to Florida is 300 miles, and I was like, that might work. And then they have all-wheel drive and a sport version. So there's several different types of Model 3s that you can get, and they have a Model Y, and same thing, there's several different versions you can get. So we kind of looked, and he was explaining the different cars in their lot of the Model 3s, and Melody's Prius is a white Prius, my truck's a white truck, and we just kind of like white vehicles because they can be filthy and they look clean. They just don't show up dirt as bad. So I asked Melody, would you want a white one? Yeah. Well, if we got one, I'd want a white one. And so he was showing us the different kind of cars. Like the base model doesn't have the leather seats. It has like cloth and leather. It doesn't have cooled and heated seats. And so we were looking at different ones they had out there, but they did have one white one that was the premium that had, and what they mean by premium, it has the white upgraded interior. And so we're like, all right, thanks for all the information. And we went on about our business. And so we were back in Georgia. And Melody and I had been talking all the way back home, watching a lot of YouTube videos, and we're like, this could really work. People were doing road trips, and you're only charging, 10 to 30 minutes, depending on how low they let their range go. And it's like, you're going to get out, go use the bathroom, get gas. So you're going to spend a good 10 minutes minimum for a gas stop, probably 15 minutes by the time. With our routine, it's probably 15 to 20 minutes because we travel with the dogs. So one of us stays in the car with the dogs, keeps the car running, and one of us will go in, use the bathroom, get something in the store, whatever, and then we switch out. The other one will go use the restroom, and we fuel up and all that stuff, and then we're back on the road. So on Tuesday evening, I got in from work, and we said, you know what? I had looked on the Tesla app, and I didn't want to buy one, just because the technology is changing so fast. And when we first started looking at these, I didn't understand hardware 3 and hardware 4 and all that kind of stuff, but it's kind of the operating system of the car. So the 25s and 6, I think, had the model, or had the hardware 4, and they were the ones that were doing the full self-drive. And so we were sitting there Tuesday evening, and I'm on the app, and you go on the app, you can pick everything you want on the car, all that kind of stuff, and you can order the car that you want for a $250 non-refundable deposit. I said, okay. I was like, all right, here we go. And we decided that we were going to lease, because the technology is changing so fast that what are they going to have better in 3 years when our lease is up? And so went on the app, put a $250 deposit, submitted it. Within 5 minutes, it's like, you've been approved, go to step 2. Did step 2 on there. All right, you completed that step, go to step 3 or whatever. So anyway, there's 9 steps you have to go through. You have to schedule where you want to pick up the car and all this kind of stuff, and they'll tell you when it's available and all that. So anyway, on Tuesday night, placed the order, and I knew that Pensacola had a white Model 3 premium with the white interior. Melody wanted that white interior for sure, and with the heating, cool seats and all that stuff. So Ordered the car on Tuesday night. I think it was Wednesday night or sometime Wednesday. It told me that our pickup for the car was going to be on Saturday at 11 a.m. in Pensacola. So we went through all the steps. You have to get insurance. Any accessories you wanted to buy. I bought the home charger. It's $450, so I could have an electrician wire in the charger here. It comes with a charging cord. You can plug it in to a regular wall outlet on the shop here. I've got a 50 amp RV outlet that we put on the outside of the shop. And so I'm like, we can temporarily charge it at the shop or just pull it in the garage and plug it into a regular wall outlet. And so anyway, yeah, we went down that Saturday and sat there in the waiting room, and lady comes and gets us and said, all right, come back. And one thing that Tesla offers is a military discount, and I didn't see that through the process of me setting up the lease. And so I asked her about it when we went back. I said, has the military discount been applied? Because I saw it, not sure that I picked it. And so basically all the paperwork is done electronically, and you have to sign like one document or two documents. But she goes, it wasn't. She goes, let me see if I can get that fixed. Go back to the waiting room and I'll come and get you in 5 or 10 minutes. And so the whole time, if you have this Tesla app, you're getting updates of what's kind of going on behind the scenes. It'll let you know that things are happening. And so I got a document that said, hey, you need to approve this document. And she had applied the $500 military discount. And so I accepted it, and then we're sitting there in the waiting room. And she walked in a few seconds later and said, hey, I got it fixed. You should be getting a document. And I said, yeah, I've already got it. I've already approved it. And she's like, okay, well, come on back. So there was probably 10 couples in there that morning, and they had called us all back to this inside warehouse showroom kind of area. And she goes, all right, sign this document right here. Show me your driver's license. Yep, confirmed who I was. And she's like, all right, go, your car's right over there. And so Melanie and I walked over there, and everything we saw online was make sure you inspect them real good, make sure there's no flaws and all this stuff. So I inspected the car. Melody inspected it. The body on it, there's some issues in the past with Tesla with body alignment and seams. It was all good. Sat in the car, got my phone out and started syncing my phone to the car. Your phone is your key. You get like a credit card, you get 2 of those as your backup, but your phone is your key. You don't never start the car, you don't never turn the car off. You just walk up to the car, pull the door handle, it automatically unlocks for you. So anyway, we went through the process of syncing phone and all that good stuff to the car, and I'm like, okay. I was like, I think we've done everything. So me and Melody are sitting there, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go ask this lady what else we gotta do. So I walked back over to this lady sitting at her table, and I said, hey, We've inspected the car. I got my phone synced to the car. What else do I need to do? She goes, nothing. Have a good day. See ya. Walked over, got in the car, drove out. So we've had it a couple months now, and we'll go over here in a second and take a look at it. It's my retirement Corvette. I'm not retired yet, but instead of having a Corvette, this is the car that I'm going to choose for retirement. And we've already had 3 software upgrades since we've got the car. You know, when a traditional vehicle, you go buy it, that's what you got. You know, if your windows were manual roll up and you're sitting there rolling the windows up, that's what you're going to have on that car forever, unless you do some kind of modification yourself. Well, these Tesla updates, well, to jump back on the manual window, you rolling your window up. Well, you can't just all of a sudden walk out to your truck or your car one day and you got electric windows in it if you got manual. So the Tesla's had 3 updates, and they're constantly improving just different features and adding features. They've got a big emphasis on the full self-driving updates, so it recognizes things better, parks at better locations in parking lots. Their next thing they're working on right now is better recognition for potholes. But it's definitely impressive, and let's go over and take a look at it. So here it is, 2026 Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive long range, 363 miles of range. Just to explain real quickly, I charged up one evening from 40 or 50 something percent to 80. Typically you run these cars between 20 and 80% of battery capacity. For daily driving, if you're going to go on a road trip, you charge it to 100. So I charged it, and it said it took 16 kilowatts. So our power rate at our house is 10 cents per kilowatt. So it cost me $1.60 to basically charge this thing up. We did have the windows tinted. This is legal. Her car is a little darker, but yeah, that, and we'll get inside and I'll show you what else. All right, let me get in here and get situated. Let me turn this. All right, so when you get in this thing, the car automatically turns on. The radio was on the last channel that I had it on, but this is the interior. It's the white interior, very simplistic. You know, like if I didn't have my, you know, there's the console. This area here, you just lay your phone there. It charges 2 phones. The steering wheel, this is it. No instruments, just the screen here. But yeah, we've made two trips to Florida in this since we've We got it in May, maybe 3 trips. But Melody will typically drive down in her car, and I drive back in her car when we go down using her Prius. So, on Friday evenings when we get off work, we typically will head down, and we're down there by 9 or 10 o'clock at the latest of Central Time, and then we head back on Sundays, and I drive home. This thing here, it's amazing. She and I maybe drive a quarter of a mile out of 300. So I'm sitting here under the carport. I could put my seatbelt on. I could push start self-driving. This thing is going to back itself out of here, and it's going to navigate to whatever I put in there. And when I get done wherever I'm at, I push the home button. It's going to bring me right back where I'm sitting now, and it's going to park me. But we have to intervene. Like, you can't go through a drive-through with full self-driving because they don't understand what you're doing. And sometimes it don't want to park where you want to park, so I intervene in the parking lot, put it in the spot I want to be in, that kind of stuff. But other than that kind of stuff, the entire trip, the car 100% drives itself. You do not have to touch the steering wheel at all. Now, if you get in a situation where you're not sure what the car is going to do, I just kind of loosely have my hand here, let the steering wheel do its thing. If I need to take over, you can disengage it by grabbing the steering wheel and forcing it to turn, or touching the brake. But super impressed. Deer jumped out in front of Melody on one of the trips back. It stopped, almost stopped, and let the deer get across the road. But yeah, this technology. Here's the car. It has they call the front trunk a frunk. As you can see on here, it's called a frunk. But here's the car. You just, you can look at the screen and all that kind of stuff. But it's got the charging port. You can touch that, it'll open it. You can open the trunk. I can lock the car, touch that lock right there, it'll lock it. Here's all the controls for the car. Here's all the different, I'm not going to get into all that, but the way you set the car up for you, every time you get in it, it sets the car, it automatically is on those settings. Alright, so I can swipe that down and it goes back to this screen. I can swipe this over and it shows a map, okay? And on this map, I'm going to get over here real quick. If you want to see what the weather's doing in the area, you push that, it zooms out. So when you're traveling, you can see what the weather's doing. Pretty amazing. If I want to see where the superchargers are, it shows me where I'm at, where all the superchargers are. You can set pins, all kinds of, there's still things on this thing that I don't even know, but it's pretty amazing. And you got all these apps. So if you're charging, if you're gonna be charging for 15 or 20 minutes and you're gonna watch YouTube or you're gonna watch Netflix or you're gonna watch whatever, you can watch it in the car. We were out yesterday. We went to Peachtree City, Georgia. Car took us all the way there. We did some shopping there. went by a supercharger. Supercharged. I had 60. Let's see, what did I have? 68%, I think, or 73% when we left. Got there, had 58%. Run around town. It was in the 50 something percent. And we had never been to a Trader Joe's, so the supercharger was next to Trader Joe's. We selected a supercharger. The car drove us to the supercharger. The car backs us to the supercharger. I got out, plugged it up, and it said we had 18 minutes or something, I think. So we walked into Trader Joe's and walked around that store to see what it was all about. And then by the time we got done, we walked back out to the car, and I think it had 2 minutes. And it tells you all this stuff on your phone. But walked back out to the car. It finished charging. Unplugged the charger, and we had our next site on the. You hit this navigate button, it pops up, and you type in where you want to go, and then once you select it off this list, you just hit full self-drive, and it takes you there. So let's see, back. All right, so anyway, super impressed with this car. Enjoy it. It's fun to. It's I want to say it's fun to drive, but it's fun for it to drive you is really the proper term. I think since I've owned this car, it has drove me 88% of the time. So I've only driven it 12% of the time when I've driven it. So anyway, it's a fun car. If you're interested in technology, definitely check it out. All right, this episode's gone way longer than I thought it would go. But anyway, that's kind of an update on what we've been up to since late winter, spring, and now into summer. I thank everyone for watching. If you're interested in Teslas, definitely do some research. There's tons of videos on YouTube. Good information. There's some information that's kind of redundant, but you can find out what you want to find out. Go on the Tesla.com app and check out everything. But I will say this: if you're interested in getting a Tesla, contact me. I will send you a link, and the link, if you purchase it through my link, and yeah, they give some incentive to me to refer somebody, but you get the biggest advantage of you get 3 months of free full self-driving, which is $100 a month. So that's $300 you're going to save if you use my link that you wouldn't get if you just go on Tesla.com like I did. I kept hearing these people say, here, use my referral link, and I didn't know what it was all about. But if you use somebody's referral link, you get benefits, and you give a little bit of benefit to the person that referred you. So I think they give it in Tesla credits or something. But anyway, gone way too long. And thank everyone for watching. Remember, if you like our content, subscribe, share it with your friends. This is going to be my retirement Corvette. See ya.